Let's face it, scaling your business can be really hard. It takes a lot of effort, especially in the beginning. It means wearing so many different hats. It means dealing with sales, marketing, understanding taxes, learning how to hire and who to hire. It involves interacting with your customers, dealing with your team, and so much more. And at the end of the day, it really takes a toll on you. So, having helped dozens of companies scale to 7, 8, and 9 figures in revenue, I have a really unique approach to scaling businesses that I want to share with you today. So, most advice out there focuses on what I like to call the outer game of growth. So, entrepreneurs focus on things like building a sales funnel, creating new products and new offers, focusing on a new market or customer segment, advertising a new marketing channel, spending more money on ads, hiring more salespeople, more. And all those things are great, especially in the beginning. But once you hit a certain kind of traction, once you hit that product market fit, and you're generating consistent value for your customers and clients, and you're generating consistent revenue for you and your business, then something very interesting happens. The entrepreneur becomes the company's biggest bottleneck. And this is hard for most entrepreneurs to acknowledge if it's actually true for them. So keep an open mind because some of these shifts might really make a huge difference for you. So, because the entrepreneur is maxed out, involved in so many different things, and has hit what I like to call their CEO ceiling of time, energy, effort, and attention, the business has a really hard time growing beyond it. The CEO, because the entrepreneur is maxed out, involved in too many things, and has hit what I like to call their CEO ceiling of time, energy, effort, and attention, the business is coupled to their capacity. So their capacity becomes the biggest constraint for the business to grow. So usually the CEO tries to do more outer work to solve this problem, working harder, longer, hiring more people, more funnels, more channels, more. And you might have been trying this as well. And it makes sense on the surface and it might produce some results in the short term, but it doesn't actually solve the real problem. The real problem is that the business is over reliant on the entrepreneur. And the thing is, you actually created this problem. To be more precise, your ego did. And you're going to learn in this episode today that the ego of the entrepreneur ends up being the biggest limiting factor for the growth of the business and also for the entrepreneur's freedom in terms of time, in terms of energy, in terms of their capacity. So the business really is an externalization of the entrepreneur's internal subconscious blocks, fears, blind spots, and egoic patterns and sabotage mechanisms. You created your business, right? The business that you have today, the kinds of people you've hired, the the amount of time that you spend working in the business, how crazy, chaotic, stressful it is, how challenging it is, what your close rates are, literally every aspect of your business is 100% a reflection of your mind. And this can be either good or bad because your mind is either your biggest asset in your business or it's become a bit of a liability. And usually in the beginning stages of the business, it's a huge asset, right? And at some point, the business gets so reliant on you, it gets so dependent on you, and you're even if you have a team, if you have employees that support you, they as well are too dependent on you, and that really creates the ceiling that most entrepreneurs get stuck in. And so unless the entrepreneur does the inner work on their mind, the business stays stuck and it grows at best at a fraction of its potential. And unfortunately, the entrepreneur stays maxed out, always at the verge of burnout and frustration. So, what I want to talk to you today about is why working on your mind is actually the fastest way to grow your business when you hit that CEO ceiling. Because time and time again, I found that this is the biggest determinant of the business's success and of the personal well-being of the entrepreneur. Because if you're indispensable in the business, then guess what? You can't really take time off. You're probably constantly under stress. And the business really is dictating pretty much your entire life. So we want to actually flip that. So you can create great linear growth by taking the additive approach. And like I said, in the earlier stages of business, this is actually great. Adding more time, more effort, more resources, more employees, more marketing strategies, more tactics, more tools. But if you want to experience exponential growth, once you hit traction, you have to upgrade. Upgrading your mind is also useful in the earlier stages, but this really becomes very, very crucial once you hit that sweet spot, hit product market fit. So in the beginning, you had this idea for a product, or maybe you were offering an innovation on an existing product in the market. And regardless of what you were selling, there was a certain trade that was going on in the beginning. You were trading time for money. And the key to growing your business is you have to detach and decouple from that trade. This has to turn into value for money. And most entrepreneurs have trouble making that shift. So the key to growing a business past this little trough of stuckness, stagnation, of linear incremental growth is actually upgrading your mind across three core areas. And I'm going to tell you about those three core areas and what to do about it. And when you do this, you make what I like to call the 8-figure shift. And the idea is that you can, build a business to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, even 7 or multiple 7 figures based on hustle, based on just sheer working your ass off, just putting so much effort that you are able to just by brute force bring in the revenue. But unfortunately, that's not sustainable. So I've seen entrepreneurs who get to even $2-3 million a year in revenue. There's a lot of hustle that's still required to keep that going. And they start really resenting the business. They start being so frustrated that the business is so reliant on them, is taking away so much of their freedom, so much of their time, so much of quality time that they'd spend with their partners or with their kids. So having this be sustainable is a big part of my focus, right? I'm in this for the long game. And what I really do is I help entrepreneurs develop the kind of business, both in the structure of the business as well as the structure of their mind, so that they can play this over the long haul. Now, if you want to play this over the long haul, this game of building and running a business has to be energy efficient, which means it should be giving you energy, it should be regenerative. So I have a Tesla, right? And the Tesla has something called regenerative braking. What that means is rather than pressing the brake, when I take my foot off the gas pedal, what happens is that the car starts using the action of slowing down to recharge the battery. So every time I slow down, it actually recharges the battery a little bit. And that's actually how you should be thinking about building a business, because an effort intensive, hustle intensive business creates a lot of friction, a lot of drag, creates a lot of stress, and that takes a massive toll on your body. So let's jump into the first component, which is upgrading your identity. So every next level of your business requires the next level of you, right? Who you are in your identity is perfectly optimized for the current business reality you experience, not just in terms of your revenues, but also in the kinds of employees you have, how much responsibility they can take, in terms of the kind of clients you have, in terms of how much work this requires to maintain, in terms of its growth potential, everything. The thing is, you cannot create a $10 million business with $1 million identity, right? You have to be congruent. So if you want a $10 million business, then you need $10 million beliefs, you need $10 million thoughts, and you need to be operating in a way that allows you to see possibilities that are at that $10 million level. If you're operating at the $1 million level, because that's your current reality, you're not going to see possibilities that will be aligned with the business you're trying to create, because you are not in alignment. You have to literally step into the version of yourself who already has that business and operate from there. The second component is about upgrading and mastering your state of mind. That is how you feel on a moment-to-moment basis in a way that drives all your actions, all your habits, all your decisions, and all your results. Now, if you're stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed a lot, then you're going to be a lot less efficient, and the quality of your output is going to be really poor. And it'll cost you the mental clarity, focus, and flow that you need to get the business results that you want. Every one of your employees is going to feel and entrain to your mental and emotional state. And your entire business is going to be a reflection of that, because your team and your business are a direct mirror for what's going on in your head. So if you want a bigger business, you have to develop the mental and emotional capacity to hold it first. You need to create the space in your mind. Otherwise, you're going to sabotage your growth, because you won't be able to handle that next level if you can barely handle this level. Because of that, most entrepreneurs spend a lot of time avoiding the things. So if you're in this constant state of stress and anxiety and overwhelm and fear and doubt, and you're always behind and you're always in this time scarcity, you might spend a lot of time avoiding the things that'll actually move the needle, because it might be a little bit outside your comfort zone. And if you do work on those things, your output isn't as great as it could be because of the poor mental state. So ask yourself, are you controlling your energy, your attention, and your focus? Or is it being driven by all the things outside you, your employees, your inbox, your clients, right? Are you in this reactive decision making mode? Or are you getting ahead of all the things that need to happen in your business? The bottom line is that if you cannot control your mind, you cannot grow your business. Can you lead yourself in your emotions? Is your emotional state basically a roller coaster throughout the day? Do you judge and criticize yourself and refuse to acknowledge or celebrate yourself, or get triggered easily? Because if you can't lead your own emotions, then you can't really lead your business. Because again, your emotions are going to get in the way of making the best decisions, the right decisions, leading your team in the right way, showing up in the right way to your clients and customers, and doing all the things that you need to operate at that next level. The quality of your life is actually dictated by the quality of each moment, not your success or accomplishments or money. So, for a lot of entrepreneurs, how they feel, their internal experience is connected. There's a link with the success that they've created, their accomplishments, how much money they have, what the business looks like. Now, as long as this connection remains, they get yanked around all day long, all week long, based on the fluctuations in the external aspects of their life and business. So if you aren't leading that internal experience, then all these things outside are. And those things are always changing, they're always fluctuating. So if your internal experience fluctuates in the same way, you're not going to be able to get done what you really need to get done at the quality you need to get it done. And your state is going to determine what you're able to create, what you're able to achieve, and the degree to which you can influence others, like your team. So the third component is how much leverage you have in your business. If you're still doing low leverage tasks, it's going to be really hard for your business to grow, because as the business gets bigger, you should be doing less and working on more impactful things, more high leverage things. So you need to design your business to be less reliant on you. You need to do the inner work to not need to be in control to the degree that you are now, but stay in charge. So a big shift here is being in charge, but not being in control. Because if you're in control of a lot of things, then it's going to require you before things can move forward. And I want to share a really quick personal perspective here. I run 3 businesses. I have helped dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs grow their businesses exponentially, and in that process, get their life back. I love what I do, but more than anything, I can confidently say that I'm in the best place in terms of my mental health than I've ever been. I'm rarely anxious, reactive, or stressed. My self worth is at an all time high. I genuinely love myself. I really love what I do. I'm really fulfilled and happy. And I've built the life and business that I have around the things that I love. And as a result, I get significantly better results in all the areas of my life. And I share this with you because I want you to know that you can have it all. You can have the business results that you want. You can have the joy, the pleasure, the happiness, the fulfillment that you want, and you get to feel good doing it. You get to feel like running your business is just pure pleasure, it's pure play. That's the vision that I have for you. When we operate in our business like that, then it becomes this renewable resource, right? It enriches us, it adds to us, it fuels us, it inspires us. It just allows us to wake up with this insane amount of energy and passion. And that's really the core of the limitless entrepreneur archetype. Now, when we operate from that way, we're limitless and we build a limitless business because most of the limits in the business are actually coming from us. So when we decouple us, our ego from the business, when we design it to be self-managing, where we are actually a luxury, a passenger in the business, when we allow it to have the elasticity that it can grow if we get 10 or 100 times the lead volume that we're used to, if we have the structure and the plan to scale it, to grow it, then it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. And that's what I want you to be able to do in your business, and just feel this insane level of momentum and fulfillment and satisfaction from building something that has a life of its own. So, to recap some of what we just talked about, you already have a mental operating system, but it's currently designed to give you the results that you currently have. So if you aren't satisfied with your results, you need to change the mental operating system rather than pumping more inputs into the system. The outer game stuff, it's great up until a certain point. It's just not sustainable. Your mind is either your biggest asset or a massive liability. And it can be both, right? In some areas, it can be an asset. In other areas, it can be a liability. So at this level, your job is to actually work on your mind, work on removing these blocks, these patterns, these dysfunctional ways in which you may be hoarding control. You may be holding the business back, holding yourself back, not taking enough space, not taking enough time for yourself. And all those things that are creating liabilities across your business. The state and structure of your mind directly creates your business, right? Your business is a mirror for what's happening in your mind. So if you don't like what's happening in your business, if your business isn't growing, then chances are there's some part of you that's not growing. There's some part of you and your mind that's stuck somewhere. And chances are that you are actually the biggest bottleneck in your business. And this is what it feels like to be a big bottleneck in your business. You constantly feel like you're letting yourself and the team down. It feels frustrating, exhausting, overwhelming. You're constantly stressed and anxious. You feel handcuffed. Things can't move. There's a lot of pressure and noise in your mind. You feel drained rather than energized. You feel stuck and stagnant. The consequence of living like this for most entrepreneurs, that they don't get the results that they want in their business. They feel perpetually stressed and they feel shitty and they feel like they're missing out on life, and they're unable to enjoy the success that they've created, because honestly, what got you here is actually the exact thing that's keeping you from getting to the next level, because every weakness is an overused strength. I'll say that again. Every weakness that you have right now is an overused strength. For example, until you hit multiple 6 or 7 figures, it was sales and revenue at all costs. So you really put your foot down on the gas pedal. You were doing all the things, you were talking to the prospects, you were closing deals. But now, if you keep trying to do that, to try and get to 8 figures without creating systems, without hiring the right people, training them on the right methodologies and processes, you will burn out and kill yourself. But also, your output is going to be capped because you only have so much time and energy. So if you want to scale, you have to duplicate yourself. You have to duplicate leadership. And at this level, that's what your job really is about. It's not about you doing the thing anymore. Another example is that maybe you like being in control. Maybe you like being involved with everything because you have a need to know. And now needing to delegate and hire and empower leaders feels really scary. So you have to be willing to let go of the thing that got you this far to this level of success. And this is really hard. And this is why it's a mental game. This is where most entrepreneurs fail, because they try to get to the next level by doing the same things, more of the same things, being the same person, being more of the same person. But being more of what's not working isn't going to get you there. When your mind is a mess, you're in a state of chronic stress and anxiety. So this is what it feels like. This anxiety and stress literally appears as a contraction in your body and in your mind. It's like wearing a straitjacket. They narrow our attention and focus on a problem state. So this is good, right? From an evolutionary perspective, it helped us hunt, it helped us escape the tiger in the wild. It allowed us to just direct all blood to our extremities, so we can, fight or flee or freeze. But unfortunately, this contraction in our energy keeps us from thinking expansively. You have to be the one in your business who thinks expansively, who needs to have that big, broad vision. And that's where creativity comes from. That's where innovation comes from. That's where these game changing solutions to big problems come from. So if you're always in the survival state, in stress, you're not going to be able to operate in the way your business needs you to be able to operate at. You can't think clearly, expansively, out of the box, or creatively. And it affects our performance in all areas of life, with work, with relationships, with our hobbies, if you even have time for that. And what this does is it disorganizes our nervous system, because we're in a state of activation, fight or flight, so much of the time, more than we're designed to be. We're actually designed to experience about 30 minutes of stress every 3 days. That's an evolutionary adaptation. But now, most entrepreneurs are stressed from like 6 to 12 hours a day. Even when you're not working, you're thinking about work, you're tethered, you're getting those messages. And so you're staying in the state of high arousal, high activation, high beta waves, and the body just isn't able to relax, to recharge, or to repair itself. So we feel tired, wired, or exhausted from being tired and wired all the time, and there's no real downtime. So over time, what happens is that this causes a lot of health issues. And let me guess, if you suddenly had to take 6 months off your business because of a health challenge, really hope that doesn't happen. Or let's say there's a family emergency, or you want to take an extended holiday, that's the best case scenario. Can your business survive? Chances are that it's so heavily reliant on you that you are the business. So you dare not step away. And that is another level of stress. That is another loss of this fundamental sense of safety, because you have to perform. The bottom line is, in this state, you make poorer decisions, you're less productive and effective, and your business suffers. So you need to upgrade your mind if you want true business success as well as personal well being. If you want money at all costs in the short term, don't listen to any of this. Then work your ass off, work harder, 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 and make a bunch of money. But chances are you're going to get to the point where you've made enough money. And at that point, the money just doesn't matter anymore. A few more $1 million just makes no difference to you when you're in this chronic state of stress, when your health is starting to suffer, when your relationships are starting to suffer, when you just don't feel good. So, this approach that I've pioneered, the 8 figure shift, is about the business success, yes, but while simultaneously creating a higher level of personal well being, actually, a fundamental level of personal well being, which actually is a springboard that allows the business to go to the next level. So, this is how you do it, right? You need to know who you are. You have to gain awareness. You have to understand your patterns. You have to understand what's happening in your subconscious, what programs are running, because without that, you're going to continue to act from autopilot. You need to understand how the mind works. Because if you don't understand how you create experience, how you create your reality, how your emotions work, how you go in and out of these states, you're going to continue to suffer. You're not going to have sovereignty over your own body, mind. And if you're not running your own body, your own mind, you can't really lead your business, right? Everyone else is leading your business. You need to develop emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is this intimate awareness with our emotional states, with our emotional makeups, with our triggers, so that we can lead ourselves, others, and our business. If we're not in charge of our emotions, if we don't control our emotions, then we can't really lead ourselves. And if we can't lead ourselves, then we can't lead others. We can't lead our business. Next, we need to be free from the past, from our conditioning, from our beliefs and habits that actually create all our limits. So, who we are today is a fabrication, it's a construction. It's a construction based on our childhood, on our conditioning, all the things that we absorbed from our environment, and they've created our current results. So, if we want to create a new set of results, we need to free ourselves from this old, outdated conditioning and upgrade, literally upgrade our identity to match the results that we want to create. Finally, we need to learn how to direct our energy, our focus, our awareness, because we get what we focus on. Where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. So when we are able to create more leverage in the business and leverage our time, our energy, our awareness, our attention, our resources more efficiently to the more higher value, higher leverage things, then we get higher value, higher leverage results. When we do the inner work to step into the identity of the CEO who already has the business you want, you can operate from a high performance state of mind without stress. You can maximize the leverage that you have in your business. So you're working less as the business gets bigger and the business scales exponentially without you needing to work harder, stress more, or sacrifice any more of your health and sanity. And that's what I call making the 8-figure shift. So if this was interesting and you are an entrepreneur, you're running a multi 6 or 7 figure business, you want to scale it to 8 figures plus by becoming the CEO who can run your dream business, by doing the inner work to master your mind, master your business, master your life, then go right now to 8figureshift.com. That's 8, number 8, fig, F-I-G, SHIFT.com, or just click the link in the show notes here. This is more than just about the money. This is about having it all, having the wealth, having the freedom, having the happiness, and really enjoying the journey of making a massive impact in the world. And you get to do that. You get to have it all. And you get to do it in a state of pleasure, in a state of flow, in this beautiful mental state of expansive bliss, happiness, joy, and it gets to be fun. That's the vision I have for you. So if that sounds good to you and you're ready to go on this journey, go to 8-Figure Shift right now, watch the video that I've recorded for you, and it'll tell you all about how we are going to upgrade you, scale your business to the next level, and give you your life back.